I hated my mother for 60 years. I hated her for the silence after the canals. I hated her for not looking at me at the funeral. For not weeping for the others. I hated her until she was dying, and then she told me what the silence had been. She was not a cold woman. She was the only woman in our house who knew what was coming, and she could only save one of us. Origin Protocol. Witness File 005B, Case Status, Echo, D005, Unresolved. Record Status, Corrected. I was 10 years old. That December. I had 6 older siblings. Rosa and Maria, 12. Carlos, 14. Rafael, 15. Eduardo, 17. Antonia, 19. They were not my full siblings. They were my father's children from his first marriage, before my mother came into the house. I never knew that mattered. I never felt it. Maria braided my hair every morning. Carlos carried me on his shoulders through the canal markets. Eduardo taught me to fold papel picado. My father loved us all the same. My mother loved the 6 of them with her hands, and she loved me with her eyes. I did not notice that difference until afterward. That was the difference. Christmas Eve. 1953. Xochimilco was full of song. The families moored their trajineras along the main canal for midnight mass. My siblings took me to see the candles floating on the water. I remember Maria's hand in mine. I remember Eduardo laughing. Near dawn, before the bells, my mother came to my bed alone. She touched my face. She said 6 words in Spanish. No te acerques al agua hoy. Do not go near the water today. She did not say it to Maria, who slept beside me. She did not say it to any of the others. She went back to her kitchen and did not come out. By sunrise, the 6 of them had walked towards singing I never heard. By noon, they were floating face down in 6 different canals. I was the only one left. I thought my mother had chosen me because I was her favorite. I thought, because I hated her, that I had been lucky. The whole village was screaming when they dragged Imelda Rojas from her home. Witch. Bruja. Child killer. I did not know her. I had seen her walking the canals at dusk, always alone, always watching the water. My father shouted with the crowd. My mother stood in our doorway and said nothing. She said nothing for 3 days. She said nothing at the funeral mass for my 6 siblings. She said nothing when my father, mad with grief, accused her to her face. You did not weep. You did not weep for any of them. My mother did not weep. She put her hand on my shoulder once at the service and did not remove it for the length of the mass. I was 10, and I was furious. I wanted her to weep for Maria. I wanted her to weep for Carlos. She would not. I decided she did not love them. That decision lasted 60 years, 2018. I was 75 years old. A researcher from Origin Protocol came to my home with a file. She asked if she could show me the case record for what had happened on Christmas Eve, 1953. She opened a folder of photographs. 12 children. 7 families. 7 names on an older page. 1912. Land seizure registration, Xochimilco District. Each signer had taken chinampa lots from a Xochimilco family who could not read Spanish. My 6 siblings were my father's children from his first marriage. Their mother, not mine, was the daughter of one of those signers. They carried her blood, not my father's. My father had been an outsider in Xochimilco. No ties to the list. When he married my mother's line entered me, pure Xochimilco. The entity had not killed randomly. It had killed by the mother line. I had never been a target. I had never been in danger. I did not go to my mother that year. I did not go the next year. She was in a care home by then, her mind half gone already. To confront a woman who could no longer remember her own name, I could not do it. I walked the canals instead. Every evening. The way Imelda had walked them before me. I wanted the entity to come for me too. I wanted the song. If my siblings had died for a debt, I wanted to die for whatever debt my blood still carried. The song never came. My blood was not the debt. The canals were quiet. I was 41 years late to a funeral I had never been invited to, and the water had nothing to say to me. I went home to my mother. I sat beside her. I waited. She was 89 when she died. The morning before, her mind came back for perhaps an hour. She looked at me. She said my name for the first time in 3 years. She said, Lucia. I was Imelda's cousin. I did not understand. She said it again. She said, my grandmother taught us to know the song. Imelda. Your Aunt Carmen. Me. We all knew. We did not tell the men. She closed her eyes. I thought she was sleeping. She opened them once more. She said, Maria. Rosa. Carlos. Rafael. Eduardo. Antonia. They were not my blood. I could not warn them. She said, if I had spoken, your father's family would have killed Imelda. Killed Carmen. Killed me. She said, I saved the one I could save. Then she was gone. She had carried that for 65 years. She had let me hate her for 60 years. She had let my father hate her for the rest of his life. She had buried her stepchildren and held the silence because the silence was the only shelter she could build for the one child she was allowed to keep. A Xochimilco woman in 1953 had no other shield. My mother chose to be hated for the rest of her life rather than let me die beside the others. That was her love. I was 60 years old before I learned what it looked like. I am testifying because she cannot. I am the last one who knows. The record must not die with me. Echo D005 file remains open. My mother's file is now closed.